Hi guys, so it's Tara from Sojourn Psychology, and I am back with Dr. James Hawkins from the Joshua Center in Arkansas, which is a whole other state, I've learned. I didn't know that before today. I was very confused for actually 2 years since I've been talking to my friends from Arkansas. Something that I wanted to get James to speak about, because I just admire his work and the different videos that I've seen, and I've seen him working with a lot of men. And so I thought it'd be really interesting for James to speak about maybe themes he's seen and male mental health, or yeah, just topics of concern that might be really relevant for the guys out there right now. So what do you think, James? How are you noticing guys managing their emotion life or just dealing with the world around them during all of this craziness that's going on?
Yeah, I think, what we're seeing in COVID is what men have learned over time, except being exacerbated. And what I mean by that is typically what we see in society. And definitely, I'm down here in Arkansas. This is the southern eastern part of America. And I think this actually happens really, I don't know, probably cross culturally. Is that men are taught to take their emotions and really turn them down. It's not considered a masculine trait to really be attuned to or expressive of emotion. It's almost like we've genderized emotion. Like, men can be angry, women can't be angry. It's okay to show you're angry, but you can't show sadness. You can't show fear. You can't show that you don't know something or that you're struggling. Because most of the time, the place where I come to with my men in therapy is when they get to the I don't know, it's almost like to say that they don't know or that they need is I'm weak. I'm weak. And so what I see happening in men's mental health is they've been taught so well, and I'm taking this from my mentor, George Fowler, where we teach men to turn their emotions down. And that's okay. There are times in life when it's okay to turn down your emotions in order to do a certain task or to do something. You can't walk around in this place of weeping, sadness, and vulnerability when you got to go to work, or when whatever you have to do, when you have to show up for your kids or your wife, or if you are in the military or a cop or whatever, or a lawyer or whatever that is, whatever it is, you have to turn down. But what we also need to tell our men and teach them is that there are places you can turn it on, that you can have emotional flexibility, that you don't have to be rigid. And so because men do something that's not really how they're designed to function, none of us are designed to turn our emotions off and to keep them turned down. No one can do that. Our bodies end up holding that. And I think that's why men have issues with, more issues with alcoholism, sexual issues, and also even depression, heart issues, cholesterol, because their body and just their soul is having to hold things that they weren't meant to always hold in. But we tell them that that's you being strong, when I think men need to hear that also being strong is also being able to know that that's there and that you can turn towards it as well, right? And so that's what I really see with men's mental health, is being able to have what George would say is this emotional dimmer switch, where you can dim it at times to function, but then you also have the permission that in places and safety that you can turn it up and turn it on, and that
Yeah.
both are okay.
Yeah, I love that. And the thing with the dimmer switch is, like, once we acknowledge the dimmer switch is there, then we know that I have a capacity, to raise it up or bring it down. And the more I use my dimmer switch, the more attuned I am to myself
Mm-hmm.
and those emotions. So that's a beautiful metaphor of the dimmer switch, because
Mm-hmm.
the fear, I think, for an emotional avoidant, is that
Mm-hmm.
I will hit the switch and it's going to blast.
Yeah, yep, that's right. And so
Hmm.
the goal we're aiming towards here is, how can we help men live in authenticity, being
Right,
able to be authentic to truly what's happening in their inner world, and that
right.
they don't have to fake it till they make it, work hard until they get on the other side, or if I could just accomplish this, if I could just be this thing to you, or if I could get this, then maybe my inner world will be okay. It's like I can be authentic in my present moment, and that actually I feel will help increase the level of emotional and mental health for men, because they can live freer then.
Right.
They won't need those other coping mechanisms that help them to check out of these places where they feel overwhelmed, or they start to feel the emotions come up, but then they can't be authentic with those emotions. They can only show strength or anger or some other type of masculinized type emotion. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the truth is that if we don't know how to use that emotional regulation or that dimmer switch, then we do accidentally blast our emotions.
That's right.
Yeah, men or women, but
That's right.
there's that like we were talking about in our previous conversation, that getting slow and getting familiar with the mechanism of this dimmer switch for emotion,
Mm-hmm.
getting intimately acquainted with our own ability to self-regulate.
That's right. And I
Mm.
love what you're saying. So let me catch the dilemma I caught with one of the guys I was working with. Because what happens is I don't know how to do that, and I don't like being in this place where I don't know how to do that. Because when I feel like I don't know, it's a scary place for me. When I feel like I don't know, I feel like I can't let my wife into the places I don't know because I can't protect her. She might get hurt. But then also what happens is, to the other part is, when I try and only hold it down, what happens is the blast goes off, and then I feel like a jerk, because
Mhm.
then all she ever gets to see is either I'm going away or she sees my anger. And neither one of those is the man that I really want to be to her. It's
Right.
I don't want to, be this guy who I'm seeing as weak, or I'm the guy who's a jerk who just blows up.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
he's in that, what Ryan would say, he's in that dilemma. And can we meet that man in that dilemma and what that's like for him, and help him find that there's probably parts of those places where I appreciate you want to protect your wife, and you want to feel strong and confident for her, and you want to make sure that you got it all together. I so appreciate that part of you. That's a good part of you. That's beautiful. And then there's this other part of you that, because you hold it in, and then when it finally comes out of you and it's only just this anger, then you're the bad guy and you're told that you don't care, and then it's like you're the monster and you've got an anger problem.
Mhm.
But then there's this part of you in the middle that I think that there's this part of you in the middle that's somewhere between the two, that there's some truth for you that in both of those places. But can we find you in this authentic place of, I just really don't know what to do on either side on how I want to be being the man I want to be able to be.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And maybe authenticity is a key element to that dimmer switch, because I'm
Yep.
trying to find my connection in to feel the feeling without submitting to some sort of subscription of how I am supposed to feel. That
That's
it's
right.
just, this is the feeling, whether I want it to be there or not.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's right. Exactly. It's like, if I let you see this part of me where I don't know,
Hmm.
or I'm scared, could I still be the man that you love and that you respect?
Exactly.
And even when I sometimes hold things in and I don't know how to let out, and it comes out in anger. Now, of course, not abusive or hurtful type anger, but it's like that frustration makes sense because no one's ever been here with you and helped you know that you could be authentically you in all of these places.
Exactly. That's awesome, James. So I'm going to stop us there and thank you so much. This is beautiful. I'll put some of James's contact information in the description below. So if you want to check out his podcast or seek him out for some other reason, feel free. Okay. Thank you, James.
Thank you.